Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and back to the woods of Idaho. Jeremy S. from T-Tag here, thetrutheaboutguns.com, and I have a new toy out with me. It is not a racquetball racket. This is the Blackhawk diversion bag. You've seen it in a bunch of videos because I love rifles that fit into this. I've had the Tavor in it. The CZ Scorpion Evo fits in it with the stock folded now that it's an SPR, even with the Liberty Mystic suppressor on it. And in this today, you might have guessed from my hat, but it's something brand new. This is Kel-Tec CMR 30. The CMR is the 16-inch barrel carbine version of the PMR 30, which is the 30-round 22 Magnum handgun. We'll go in for a closer look in a second, but the frames are actually identical, like they come out of the same mold. The triggers are identical. The safety, the slide stop or bolt stop in this case, are identical. The triggers are 100% identical. Not only are they both in 22 WMR or Winchester Magnum rimfire, but they both take the same 30-round magazines. I've always had this thing for not just pistol caliber carbines, but pistol caliber carbines that are in the same caliber as a pistol and take the same magazines. I think that's such a cool combination. And in this case, with 22 Magnum being such a light yet fairly potent round, I think this is a great combo with the folding stock and everything for, you know, a bug out bag or some sort of a go bag or a survival kit, a zombie survival kit. This gun weighs 13 ounces. This thing weighs 3.8 pounds. The magazines loaded a 30-round mag is like 3 ounces or something. 1,000 rounds of 22 Magnum ammo is like 8.4 pounds. I mean, you can carry around a heck of a lot of ammunition and not weigh yourself down. And like you saw, this thing can fit just about anywhere. And we've added, you know, 4 or 5 inches of suppressor to the end of it too. Still fits in that little bag. Now, I've owned that PMR 30 pistol for a few years now. This just came in. I had 6 magazines for that PMR. This came with 2. So that's 8 mags. That's 240 rounds loaded up. They weigh nothing. They could go in a cargo pocket on your pants or shorts or something. All 8 of them, no problem. Anyway, we'll shoot back to town to do a little tabletop, go in, look at the details of this thing, and we'll be back here in the woods in just a minute to do some shooting. While I'm here though, okay, real quick run through the features of the CMR 30 and through the controls. The stock rides on this rail on the receiver. This is the release to lock it or release it so it can slide. You don't need to do that to extend it, which is pretty cool. Just pull back on it and out it goes. Now you can see this little locking tab there is what actually goes up and down to hold it in place, and it has a handful of settings in and out that you can adjust it to, but for most folks the longest one is where you're going to want to shoot it. That's about a 14-inch length of pull. Push it down and that release is ambi on both sides. You can do that with your trigger finger and then push in on the stock with your shoulder, put it all the way in. The charging handle is also ambidextrous. It's on both sides, and you can see that there's this one part that extends it out a little bit farther, and that you can actually take off very easily to make it a little bit more flush with the receiver if you don't want it sticking out as far. I'm not sure actually if you can take it entirely off of one side or not. It does not reciprocate, so you cycle it back to charge the gun. It kind of clicks in the front with the detent, and it stays there while you're shooting. Firing controls are a thumb safety, which is ambidextrous as well. And this right here is the bolt release or bolt catch. It does lock back on empty. You can push down to release it, or you can manually lock it back by pushing up when you're cycling the charging handle. Magazine release, just like on the PMR 30, is actually on the heel of the grip here. You push down and the magazine pops out. Since it's down there and centered, that is ambidextrous as well. As you can see, the entire top side of it has a Picatinny rail, and it comes with these Magpul backup polymer sights already installed from the factory. Of course, you can remove them if you don't want to use them. The rail itself can actually be removed. Same with this bottom one. There's 2 hex screws, hex bolts in there. When you take those off, this entire bottom handguard thing comes off, and then those holes are bolts that hold just the rail section to this. So you can take the rail off, It's on a little groove thing. It pops off, then you'll have a nice smooth bottom if you would rather hold that than this rail. Of course, the rail allows you to mount little forward handguards like you saw in most of this video, or whatever else you want on it. And yeah, the top rail comes off as well, but I don't know what you would do without that. You couldn't put optics on it. Muzzle threaded 1/2 by 28, of course, for any AR-15 muzzle brake or a silencer or whatever else you wanted to put on there. Comes with a thread protector from the factory. The action, as you'd probably expect, is straight blowback. And on the rear, there's a steel eyelet on either side for mounting a sling. That about covers it. If you want to see how to field strip this thing and put it back together, I put that in a separate video to cut time. Click here on the frame to go to that video. This is slack. Once you take that up, you have what feels like a first stage up to there, and now you're on the sear for a really short and clean break. Slack, first stage, break. Reset. Really isn't very noticeable. There's just a light click at the end. First stage, break. And it is very smooth, very clean and crisp.
All right, shooter, are you ready?
Ready.
Stand by.
Went about 20 yards, nothing crazy. Nice. Even though I'm literally holding this thing with my arms fully outstretched, I can still keep it on target because it is so dang light.
Speaking of light, you can actually shoot this like a pistol pretty freaking easily because it doesn't weigh that much more than some big revolvers. How the stock works, it actually braces on your wrist. It works fine for one hand or two. You can extend it out a little bit, brace it on your forearm. It's amazing that it actually works. I think I like it in. Yeah, it pushes on your wrist and really braces it. Not that you need it. Again, it's really freaking light. As you see, it doesn't move at all. See if I can hit that steel. It's ridiculous. God, it's easy to shoot. On the back of the CMR, there are two eyes for attaching a clip-style sling, a single point like this, which definitely ups the tactical factor. It makes it work very well as a pistol by being able to pull out against that sling, but since the stock is so quick and easy to deploy, it's just handy for carrying this light little thing around. And then get shooting.
Yeah, you can hear that crack all the way down into the woods. One cool thing you can do with the CMR 30 or any 22 that's threaded 1/2 by 28 is put an AR-15 muzzle brake on it. Muzzle brake, flash hider, whatever you want. Same threads, same bullet size almost exactly. They all work, and there's a lot of fun options out there. This one is the M472, the winner of the recoil reduction test 1 and 2.
God, I love the sound of that pistol. The CMR has now been joined by two things from previous reviews. We've got the Lucid L5 rifle scope 6 to 24x zoom is going to help me put some really good groups downrange, and the MagnetoSpeed V3 chronograph. I'm going to kill two birds at the same time here. Chronograph these different ammos through the CMR while I'm doing 5-shot groups at 50 yards. Now, if you look around online about the MagnetoSpeed, you'll see that on some precision rifles, it does affect the point of impact just a little bit. It shifts where those groups are a tiny bit, but it doesn't actually affect group size. And I did spend about 25 rounds before and after with this thing just to make sure, and my groups are the same, and actually the point of impact, as far as I can tell, hasn't moved. Again, this little fiberglass blade, it weighs almost nothing. Top left, CCI Mini Mag. Not a bad group. Velocity information is on your screen. Next up is the Fiocchi, and this has the highest listed velocity for the 40 grain ammo. Dang, from here that looks like one ragged hole. Now we're on to the arms core. So there might be a reason it's the least expensive of the bunch. So far it's the least consistent. That group looks good though. Alright, bottom left is Hornady Critical Defense with a 45 grain bullet with that little rubber flex tip. Another good group. Standard deviation 18.1, the tightest so far. Last but not least, middle left target, whatever this round from CCI is called, with the 30 grain bullet and the ballistic tip. Alright, that's 5. You know, that group is high left and a lot bigger than the other ones. Glad I tested this out. I think it's fair to say that this CMR definitely prefers heavier bullets. Those 30 grain ones did not group like the 40 and 45. Well guys, thank you for joining me out in the woods. That's going to wrap it on Kel-Tec CMR 30, the carbine version of their PMR 30 pistol. Love the concept of this super lightweight 30 round magazines that weigh nothing. It's a blast to shoot, and it's really, really accurate. More than accurate enough to use for hunting, you know, varmints, ground squirrels, whatever it is that you're out there for. When I saw this at SHOT Show, I asked Kel-Tec, is it worth putting a huge scope on it and actually accuracy testing it at 50 or 100 yards? They said yes, 100%, do it. I'm glad I did, because it put in some really, really tight groups. Shoots great with the suppressor on. It's loud, it's not uncomfortable, but I don't think it should be done long term. And that's just because all the ammo is supersonic, of course. Super light, super maneuverable. I like the controls. Everything is there, easy to access, comes with these Magpul sights. Overall, we'll see if they become available enough that they can actually be purchased at MSRP or under MSRP like a normal firearm can, because that will make it a heck of a deal. So they can be found for that. They're probably a good buy for a lot of purposes like hunting and fun and target shooting and that bug out bag or survival kit. With the heel release for the magazine, it's ambidextrous, safety is ambidextrous, charging handle ambidextrous on both sides. The release for the stock, ambidextrous on both sides. That's where everything's going these days, so it's cool to see it on this. The only problem, of course, I didn't have 100% reliability. When it's clean, when it's lubed, it ran great. Flawlessly 100%. When it started getting dirty, and it did that pretty fast with the Canon, it would stop. This bolt would just start getting a little bit sticky and gummy, and it didn't run consistently. I would get failures to feed because the bolt wasn't cycling far enough back. It was worse with my magazines, I do admit, my old beat up magazines, than these brand new ones from Kel-Tec. However, it wasn't entirely a magazine issue. You look in the inside of this thing, it is just gunked up with flakes of copper and brass and all sorts of crap, and it dries out with all of that powder residue with the blowback action and the rimfire being dirty. That residue just dries it out fast, and it stopped running. I really only trust this thing for, I don't know, 160 rounds, maybe 4 magazines, maybe 5 magazines, and then after that I've had to take a break and give it some lube, clean it up a little bit. So that obviously is a big detracting factor. Now I might be able to change what kind of lube I'm using, get it to run a little bit better when it's dirty, but God, it gets dirty fast. So there you go, conceptually awesome. In practice, has a couple of hitches, and its reliability, you know, it's not perfect. Even just rimfire ammo isn't perfect. Magnum's a lot better than long rifle, but you do have some dud primers every now and then. Great trigger, it's a joy to shoot, and if they can be found for not a gouging, you know, gun broker, ridiculous triple, double MSRP price, yeah, if you have a PMR 30, you're gonna want a CMR 30. I don't see how you can avoid it. Thanks as always for joining me in the woods. Check out the link in the video description to thetruthaboutguns.com for photos and more technical details on this, and we'll see you guys back out here next time.